Another video in our myofascial pain trigger point series. I wanted to cover a common issue people have with temporomandibular joint dysfunction and chronic headaches. Temporalis is a muscle that connects over the temples. Most people are actually surprised to find out that people with TMJ dysfunction are often having an issue with the temporalis because temporalis is up around the temples. The muscle attaches up and around the temporal bones. And all of these muscle fibers go down underneath the zygomatic arch, underneath the cheekbone, onto the mandible. So these big muscles on the sides of the skull wind up contracting when you are chewing, masticating, cause lots of issues for people, again, with TMJ dysfunction. If you're somebody who grinds your teeth at night, you're probably clenching these muscles. When I do scalp work on clients, it's common for me to focus on this, particularly towards the end of a session. It just feels nice. Many people are actually surprised at how much tension they hold. But the muscle goes up and around, and with broad finger pads, I'm going to work up through this area. This always feels inordinately good to me. I had problems with TMJ dysfunction years ago. I can move the fingers in any direction. I can go with the muscle fibers, I can speak well, or I can do cross fiber friction. It really depends on what's good for you. I found a spot to the posterior here that feels inordinately tender. I'm going to use both hands at the same time to gently push on this, and it feels a little bit tighter on my left, but I'm left-handed. And also notice that I tend to chew more on my left side. If I'm doing some heavy chewing, I'll not lean to the right, I'll go to the left. I'm going to work through this muscle. When people are having problems and real trigger point pain from the temporalis, they tend to get this broad pain through the head in this little strip here, and sometimes down over into the front, into what is, I guess you'd say, that is the upper mandible, but it's not the mandible. The mandible is the lower portion of the jaw. It's the upper portion of the teeth through here. But for people who are having tension headaches, these guys right in here, the temporalis, right over the temples, I'm making little shampooing kind of circles right there. Mine is inordinately tender. Just shampooing my scalp there. If I get tired, I can always just switch to the other side. My right side isn't as tender, but for people who are having chronic headaches, they're usually having some tension through this area. It feels really nice to go in and press into the skull, pinning the muscle and applying a little bit of pressure. If you find a spot that you want to hang out on, you can press in, and you can lead the fingers one direction, another. And this felt better to me, so I'm going to hold that. Once I'm up this way, I can also shear to one side. Oh, that's tender. Or I can go the other. And in my case, I got more activity. It was more intense going forward and up. So I'm going to hold that for a minute. Now that I'm pinning that muscle, if we think of a pin and stretch as a technique, I'm now going to open my jaw. I'm going to yawn. Oh, I felt that at about the fifth level of my soul. I'm pinning the muscle and then lengthening the muscle fibers to access it. I'm going to back off on this side just for a second. And even the right side of my jaw just feels different. My head feels sort of off in a slight way, just because it's so much tension wrapped around people's heads. I'm going to use both sides at the same time. Get into a good spot in there. Find something that feels a little right there. Both sides. Then I'm going to lift, pressing gently up. Then I'm going to slide forward towards my eyes or back towards the back of my head. The forward felt better to me. I'm going to hold right there, and then I'm going to yawn. I'm able to traction and lengthen through those muscle fibers. Lots of I guess, nerve activity. Just lots of sensation right there. Oh, that feels glorious just to pull on that for a second. Temporalis, again, people who have temporomandibular joint dysfunction are usually having problems. The muscle connects around the temple and goes down onto the jaw, underneath the cheekbone on both sides. Spend time working on that on yourself. It's easy to access. It's not a lot of pressure on your hands. You'll get a lot of relief from things like tension headaches by working on the temporalis regularly. Just a little shampoo of the scalp. Easy to do even if you're at your desk at the office and you just take a 5-minute break to work on it. I'll see you again soon for our myofascial pain trigger point series. You can check out the other videos where we go through various muscles and show you how to work on them yourself. I'll see you again soon.
Don't forget to subscribe, yo.